Hello and welcome back to the channel. So we keep getting reports of people leaving here. Suddenly, a few months back, I was really covering these stories a lot. And of course, after some time goes by, it begins to sound redundant. But when you continue to see these reports, it makes you stop for a moment and reality sets in, and you're able to say, this thing is really happening. This is real. So there was a story shared with me of a young woman who is a celebrity, and I forget her name. Usually, a lot of times when I report on these things, I'm sitting right there in front of it, and I'm able to recall, by looking at the report or the article. But she was 31 years old, and they say that she just died, right? Young woman, 31 or 32. Some of you, because this is a recent story, some of you all may know who I'm talking about. But she's gone. She has small children, and she's gone. Her man is left grieving. Her children are left grieving. Her family's left grieving, right? And then we all have heard the troubles of Jamie Foxx. And everyone is still trying to figure out what exactly has happened with Jamie Foxx. Now, there's a lot of speculation in regards to him, because no one knows for sure what's going on with him. People are saying this and that, but there has not been an official release. People are speculating that he had a stroke. Others are saying that some other stuff is involved. Y'all know what I mean. Anyone who is following this. But I said that to say this, that troubles and woes and death doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter how famous you are. It doesn't care. Death doesn't care how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't care how beautiful you are. It doesn't care how many fans you have. Anyway, the reality of the situation is the fact that everyone has that appointment. Everyone has that appointment. And with all that's going on in the world, it's very, very easy to lose sight of who is in control. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that the Most High is in control of these things, and in many cases, directly or indirectly causing these things, because biblical prophecy has to be fulfilled. Biblical prophecy means that these things have been stated before, that it has been called or said to be a thing that will happen, that people will have to experience, right? Or people will see, or people will do. That's what biblical prophecy is. And when you see it happening right before your eyes, you can get a little nervous, or you can get excited, or you can get happy. I mean, there are a number of different emotions that come about, when biblical prophecy is unfolding, right? There are a number of emotions that can take place because, again, we are in exciting times. That excitement can be from good things or bad things happening. The reality of the situation, I'm going to stand right here in the shade for a moment. Even though it's early in the morning, it's starting to get very warm. And I'm not complaining. I'm just, stating what it is. The reality of the situation is that we've got to Tend to our soul. I've talked about this before, tending to our soul, because many times we just get so used to living our lives and going throughout our day, and we don't consider or even think about where we're going to spend eternity. That's not even a thought for some people. Most people just live their lives like, hey, this is my life. I'm going to do what I want to do. This is my thing. And they don't consider the fact that we have to answer to someone when we close our eyes and draw our last breath for the last time. Most people don't even think about that, right? And sometimes it's easy to forget about that when you're living your life, right? When you're going here and there, you're making plans, you have a trip planned, you're going on vacation, you're taking care of things, you're buying things, you're building things, you're making things. You know, of course, no one wants to sit and dwell and say, okay, this is, one of these days I'm going to die. Nobody wants to think like that. And I don't think that the Most High expects us to think like that, right? For the most part, I believe that the Most High expects us to live. He says, especially with, so-called black people, the children of Yasharel, the scripture actually says that, talking about us being in a particular captivity, he said this captivity is long, so I expect you to plant gardens and build houses and do this, that, and the third, right? And so, but people in general, we are expected to live, right? Go about our business, but remembering and knowing and understanding who is in control, right? Knowing and understanding that our life does not consist in the abundance of things which we possess. Knowing and understanding that is in Him we live, in Him we move, in Him we have our being, right? Knowing and understanding that tomorrow is not promised to us, right? Many of us, we live our lives as if we have another year, another 10 years, another 20 years, another 50 years. Nobody thinks about that, the finish line. No one wants to think about that, should I say. Now, the closer you get to it, of course, your mind thinks about it more. My thinking now is quite different than it was 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, my mind was not focused on the things that it's focused on now, right? Many of the experiences that I've had over the past 20 years have made me see, view, know, and understand that there are some serious things I need to focus on, right? And most of us can't fathom our end, and we don't want to, right? Who wants to? But when you think about the fact that we exist in time, right? And the Most High exists in eternity, and that once we cross over out of time, that we've got to exist somewhere in eternity, right? That's why the question is, where will you spend eternity? Where will you spend eternity? We've got to ask ourselves that. So we do need to prepare for eternity. We can't just live our lives existing in time and thinking that time has no end for us. I knew I heard an animal back there. It's a cat. I knew I heard one of them little creepers creeping up on me. She must have heard my voice and came looking for me. Hi there, sweetheart. Anyway, we've got to ask ourselves, where are we going to spend eternity? What are we doing today to prepare ourselves for eternity? Because tomorrow is not promised. We don't know when our number will be called, right? But I do like the scripture where the Most High can give you an expected end, right? There's a scripture that actually talks about that. And so we got to keep ourselves aligned in the spirit, understanding who we live for, right? Scripture tells us that we are not our own. We have been bought with a price. It is what it is. And I thank the Most High. I thank the Most High for giving us the opportunity to serve Him, giving us the opportunity to be his children, for granting us the opportunity to live and exist in time on the earth, right? I thank him for that. That being said, I am going to wrap it up. I'm done with this video. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. We would appreciate it when our videos are shared, when you subscribe and even comment. You know, I don't get a chance to respond to every comment, but I do get a chance to read some of them, right? This life is real. It has changed, right? And with the changing of this life in general, you know, on planet Earth, a lot of things in our own personal lives change as well. We get to the point where we say, you know what, I've got to redirect my focus. I've got to redirect my focus because things have changed. Things are different. And we are living in ever-changing times. All right, thank you all again for joining. Until next time, I'm out.